Hey, everybody. I'm Haley Gray. I'm here with a very long time friend of mine, Zofia Renee Morales. And
Hello.
I am so excited to have you here. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
I'm so excited to be here with you. We always have the best discussions, and I'm really looking forward to this.
Yeah, you have been in business for a very long time and you've had a lot of businesses, you've worked with a lot of businesses, you've done a ton of consulting, and you are absolutely phenomenal with the, juggling and the business pieces, right? So we were talking, here today about the juggling and the art of juggling, being a business owner and being multi-passionate and doing all the things. And, it's absolutely fascinating to see how people think they can juggle and they're
hmm
multi-passionate. So tell me about that.
Well, this kind of came to the forefront of my thought over the weekend because I started a book called The One Thing. And
Mm-hmm.
what should I say? I'm not going to say that it's run of the mill advice, but it's advice you've heard before. Just focus on the thing, get the thing done, and then move to the next thing. And this particular book defines things in really large buckets. Focus on
Mm-hmm.
this aspect of your business until you get it to X point, and then go focus on some other aspect of your business.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a part of me that wants to love that advice and follow that advice in those large tranches like that, but I'm not really temperamentally designed for that. I'm female. And that single focus tends to land a little bit easier into a man's world than it does a woman's world. And with my personality type, I am by definition multi-passionate. I'm not one of these single deep subject specialists. I like to dig deep into one thing and another thing and another thing. And Leonardo da Vinci is my hero. Okay. So I work with a large number of different interests, both in the business world, in my personal life, and then just being female, being the backstop for everything in the household, right? Because that does
Mm-hmm.
tend to follow to the woman. We are the domestic engineers most of the time in the house, in the relationship. So
Mm-hmm.
I spent some time with the one thing concept and did a little co-thinking with the GPT. I will confess to that because I have found that GPT makes a really good thinking partner.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. How has that been in your world?
Oh, I use GPT all the time. Like, GPT is my bestest buddy to do a lot of this stuff. Like, I'm like, hey, I'm thinking this thing. Help me edit this. Hey, help me walk through this. Poke holes in my strategy. Do this, do that. Keep
hmm
me on the rails.
Yeah,
And then sometimes I have to keep it on the rails.
true. Because it does hallucinate and it does tend to, what do I want to say, remove legitimate restrictions. Like, I only have 24 hours in a day.
Yeah, exactly. Like, here's some wishful thinking for you. That's great. I can do all the wishful thinking for myself. But yeah,
Exactly.
reality is.
Here's a dose of reality.
Mhm.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I spent some time with it and went, okay, I'm a multi-passionate person. There's this one thing. Does this mean I will never be successful, according to this guy's definition? Because he does make that statement in the book. If you want to be successful, you have to adopt this one thing focus approach. And reassuringly, in my conversation with GPT, it became clear that there are multi-passionate people who are, by this guy's definition, obscenely successful, Oprah being one of these people. Jobs was on the list, and someone else, I forget who. Big names in the business world who are multi-passionate and who made that,
Right.
blockbuster, tremendous success sort of thing happen. And so it's like, okay, there is hope for me.
Mhm.
To achieve whatever level of success I decide is appropriate for me, because I don't think I would be happy with like the Oprah level success.
Mhm.
I want something that's a little more focused on having a balanced lifestyle and healthy relationships and a reasonable retirement and being able to do some fun things for the community, for my family, that kind of stuff. That's the kind of success that I'm interested in,
Right. You
as
get to
opposed to,
decide what success
yeah,
means.
exactly. And that's really my definition of success. And so the thing I took away from this conversation with GPT is that, yeah, as a multi-passionate person, that is more than achievable for me. And that honestly, looking at the way that I work and the style with which I engage in the world and my business and this sort of thing, I sort of am doing the one thing. I just do more switching than most people.
Right.
Because like when we sold the house and relocated to Louisiana, I would have a block of time and my goal was turn all the utilities on. And we would just tunk, 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 tunk. The utilities are on. I don't have to worry about it anymore.
Yeah.
And so it was kind of a one thing concentration, but there was switching that went on during that time. There was the utilities that went on and the negotiation around the real estate. And then there was, dealing with what's going on in my business and catching up on the email, and then a switching to, taxes or whatever the next thing on the list was. And so the thing that I find helps me is to prioritize what needs attention now and what's going to be in that one thing slot in that moment, as opposed to going, okay, I've got this laundry list of stuff and I'm just going to start with whatever the low hanging fruit is. Although that can sometimes be a strategy as well. Yeah.
Like, is it important or is it urgent?
Is it urgent? Is it important? Is it important and urgent? Or is it just
or is it
nice to get out of
neither?
your hair? Yeah.
Right. And I mean, I think that there's definitely, whenever you're a business owner anyway, the reality is life is always going to life. I mean,
it does.
you know very well, like you've been dealing with other stuff in the background. I've been raising 4 kids. My youngest just went to college. My oldest has had severe psychiatric issues, and it's a big deal. Yeah. So if you think about it in terms of multi-passionate or whatever, I would say in some ways that's not really like not doing the one thing. I think that you are doing the one thing, and you can have everything, but you can't be trying to do every single thing in the exact same moment, in the exact same time slot. So you have to put time slots together and prioritize things. And this is why when people say, oh, I don't have time to do X, Y, or Z, like I could have never gone to Duke and gotten an MBA, right?
Yeah.
It was a priority to me. So I prioritized the time to do it, and I made it how I did things. And it is, so I think that yes, and is maybe that answer. It's not, it's not as cut and dried of I have to spend 24 hours a day focusing on this one thing until the cows come home. Well, dude, you still have to eat.
Yeah. And you still have to sleep in between, and
grocery shopping, exercise, self-care. There's always a million things that you're doing. It's probably one main business focus at a time.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and one of the things that I mentioned was, doing the important and especially important urgent first. And then, the other thing I do when I look at what's the larger picture on my plate is what has lead time that's built into it, that the ball needs to roll now so that I can meet that down the line.
Right. 100%.
And make sure that those important balls are rolling. And then we can deal with fires and urgencies and that kind of stuff after that. The other thing I mentioned was like the low hanging fruit on the list. It'll feel so good if I can check off like 3 things. I think there's a spot for that, because when you arrive in these moments of overwhelm and you feel like you're not being effective and that kind of stuff, that's a good spot to bring some of that in. Just so you can pat on the back.
Something off the list.
Exactly.
I feel good. I don't feel like I'm totally traumatized anymore.
Exactly.
Okay, cool.
I've got some success happening in my world today. Yeah. And it makes it easier then for me to move on to the next thing that's maybe hairier and a little bit more of a wrestle.
Right. And I mean, you have to prioritize. And and the reality with being in business or life is that things are never going to go exactly like we think they are. My schedule today,
man
we're
plans
meeting,
and God laughs.
Right. We didn't meet exactly when we said we would. We met an hour early because I had to move some things around in my schedule. And I think it's important to acknowledge that challenge with being a business owner, that you're going to schedule sales calls or you're going to schedule whatever, right? You're going to think you've got a doctor's appointment scheduled, whatever you think you've got, and things are going to naturally shift. So allowing that flexibility to say, hey, I've got 30 minutes. What things can I knock off my list?
Yes.
Cool. It might be something that's low hanging fruit. It might just be, making that casual stroll through my inbox to make sure that it's not, growing gorillas today.
On fire.
Right. I'm sitting here going, wow, I've got 176 unread emails. And that's just a daily thing, right?
Yeah,
so
exactly.
It's that managing those time slots so that you can get all those pieces and parts done. And the other thing too, I know you're multi-passionate, so you podcast.
Yes. I podcast, I consult, I coach, I do hypnotherapy, I do lots and lots of things. I love to spend time in my workshop building shit with power tools, okay? You know,
And I would say a lot of that stuff supports one another. The time spent in your workshop playing with power tools or in the garden doing whatever is really supporting your brain in that creative space to allow you that time to unplug from work so that you can turn around and do stuff.
yeah. Well, and for a long time, I didn't allow myself that. And then I was listening to, I think it was a YouTube video. I was watching a woodworker in great envy, right? And he made the statement that he started in woodworking because he makes money with his brain. And he ended up in therapy, and his therapist said, if you work with your brain, you need to relax with your hand.
Right. 100%.
And I went, ding, 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 ding. This is a missing piece for me.
Right. Yeah. For me, it's gardening and cooking and just driving up to my cousin's home in Virginia.
Yeah.
So we all have those things, but that driving time allows me to be off the phone, not on Zoom, not meeting with somebody, and actually like, oh, let me think about this problem I've been trying to solve. And 9 times out of 10, it's magical.
Yeah, your brain goes into neutral and the answer just arrives. It's like, oh, why didn't I see that before? Because I was lost in the forest.
Couldn't see the forest for the trees.
Exactly so. Exactly so. So yeah, I've been spending a lot of time around how I'm approaching my life and my work and this sort of thing, because it's easy for me to deprioritize the important like health sort of stuff. And that includes the mental health. And one of the things that I've worked to shift my mindset around, because I was raised with this, I think a lot of other women might also be able to relate to this, which is that you're supposed to do your own work, right? Make sure that you're not looking at anybody else's paper. Make sure that, the project you turn in is all your own effort. And that's not how it works in business. And it's not a solo sport. It is a team sport, and you need to be able to delegate stuff, not just in your business, but in your home and in your personal life in order to get the space that you need to do that multi-passionate thing and include the business in your world. And that's been a big lesson for me. And so, I periodically, this is an exercise I periodically do, especially if I'm overwhelmed. And that is I get something like Toggle Tracker or even just a spreadsheet. And like every 15 minutes, where am I at? What am I doing? What have I been accomplishing? And do that time audit to understand exactly where all my effort is going. Because as I said, I switch a lot. And so it's important to get all that scraped into a pile so that I can see what I'm aiming for and where my efforts are taking me, whether they're aligned or not. And that exercise always gives me a lot of clarity. And the last time I did one of these, I decided that it's time for the bookkeeping to go. It's time for the laundry to go. It's time for the house cleaning to go, because A, I'm allergic to dust. B, I hate doing laundry. And C, I abhor doing the books. So why am I dumping emotional energy into this when I can hire somebody to do it and it free up my time to do more or things that I enjoy doing?
And it's that knowing yourself really well to know which things you can offload financially, mentally, emotionally, and need to offload because they're draining on you. Maybe that your spouse or partner can do, or
the kids,
maybe they don't have to be done at all.
Or errand sharing with the neighbor. I mean, you can get really creative with this.
Right. Like I don't generally go to Costco because when I go to Costco, it's an entire thing. And I was telling somebody this morning, and they're like, of course it is, going to Costco. And I said, no, you don't understand. My husband, if I put something on the list, will buy exactly what is on the list, nothing more and nothing less. He goes at 9 a.m. on Sunday and pushes the cart, and he's out the door in 10 minutes, and he will have obtained every single thing on the list.
Yep. That's how my husband is. It's mission oriented. This is the mission. I'm going to go in there. It's a surgical strike and I'm out.
Right. And so for me, unless I happen to want to go browsing at Costco to go look for something, I tend to not set foot in the door because I know that not only am I going to spend 3 hours in there, but I'm going to come out of there spending an extra $400.
Yeah, precisely so.
Because it's Costco.
Yeah.
And it's designed to do that. And I'm not trying to be funny, but when you start looking at, okay, so where am I spending my time? How am I spending my time? And you know this, but our listeners may not know this. I underwent bariatric surgery a few years ago because I was at 427 pounds at the time. And I've since lost over 180 pounds.
Yeah. And the
And
Costco
a lot of that was,
bakery is not a good place to be.
oh, I can't even eat the stuff anymore, but not that I wouldn't, but it just makes me horribly sick. But it's just that like, okay, so now it's time to focus on my own health and stop doing, certain things that were sabotaging my health, like not caring what I was eating because I didn't have time to think about it. So I was just eating whatever was in front of me. So we totally changed how we eat. So that meant learning a lot of new skills around cooking. Not that I've been a lousy cook, but just didn't have certain recipes and skills. Perfectly willing to learn, just didn't have it, right? And so sometimes it's that learning those skills and whatnot. I mean, lately it's been buy a rotisserie chicken on Sunday at Costco because it's $4.95. And we bring it home and we shred it. And then I drop the carcass into an Instant Pot and turn it into soup, chicken stock. And then this week was chicken pot pie and chicken noodle soup.
Nice.
So then we have the meals prepped for a chunk of the week. And we had our friends over for dinner and everybody ate themselves silly. And then next week, it might be something else completely. The week before it was, chicken wonton soup. So I'm trying new things. I'm getting to express that creativity in a way that makes sense to me and to my family.
Exactly. Well, and I like that we're discussing diet because ChatGPT is going to be very helpful to me around this because I have a large number of food sensitivities, which makes it super complicated to even do something like you've described right there, because if I have chicken on Monday, I'm not supposed to have chicken for another 3 or 4 days. And so there's a incredible complication that goes with the food allergy avoidance, and I'm waiting for my latest set of results before I recommit to that path because I don't want to be avoiding things I don't have to be avoiding right now while I don't know how those sensitivities have migrated.
Right. Well, and
we're taking those baby steps forward, get the data, then work with it. And I think once that's back, GPT and I are going to have a nice long session about let's strategize.
And GPT is really good, if y'all don't know this, at helping you come up with menus, adding or removing certain ingredients, and then helping you build the shopping list. So if you're like, hey, give me different chicken soup ideas based on chicken stock, it'll give you an entire crazy list of stuff of recipes that use that ingredient or avoid ingredients because we have food allergies in our house too. And and it's been a godsend.
It gets really complicated when it's like, okay, you don't fit any one dietary bucket, right? I'm sort of like this meat-eating vegan in functional reality, and when you have, 7 of the top 10 food allergens in your pile, you get done listing them to somebody and they're like, okay, so what can you eat? I'm like, that is the $1 million question, right?
Probably not zucchini.
Well, I can eat zucchini, which has been a great staple.
Interesting.
But I can't do corn. I can't do soy. I can't do gluten. I can't do dairy. I can't do eggs. I can't do coconut. It gets to be a long list of stuff that's in everything. And so I found once that arrived in my world that it was more useful to make a list of the things I can still eat, like zucchini and asparagus and that sort of thing. And we can't do like broccoli and cauliflower in our house because my husband bloats really badly if you give him that. So you got to keep him in mind too. Either that or you're cooking 2 different meals, which is a non-starter. So
that's not flying in my house either.
Exactly. So GPT, I think, will save me a buttload of time once this list comes back and I'm recommitting to this, because I would go look for recipes and it would come back and it's like, okay, it's great, except that it is based on coconut oil. I can't do that. Or it's got eggs in it. What are my options for replacing the egg, And a lot of the time I can't just grab a box of egg replacer because of some of the other ingredients and stuff that go in it. So it's been a fun little adventure. But I expect it'll
Yeah.
figuring it out should get quicker with GPT
Right.
now. So yeah.
Well, and just to throw out there for y'all, the dietary stuff is just one really good use of GPT. But
Hmm.
like you could take the toggle time tracker where you're tracking everything
Yeah.
and then spit all that information into GPT and say, analyze this and tell me where my gaps are or how this is not meeting my goals or where I'm most meeting my goals. And, give me suggestions for doing this. And it'll give you all kinds of interesting analysis of things or to put things in bullet points for you and
Hmm.
summarize and tell
Yeah.
you exactly, what the data tells you. And that is one of the most brilliant uses of GPT.
Oh, yeah. And I actually used it for something akin to that recently, which was figuring out kind of what the optimal schedule is for me, given the health stuff I have going on. And I have sleep maintenance, insomnia, and a bunch of other stuff happening. And so I'm like, here's my sweet time for getting things done creatively. Here's
Mm-hmm.
the time that I'm like totally brain dead and all of the things. And so put together a calendar that supports all of these goals, right? Here are my
Right.
non-negotiables. And we actually arrived at something that's quite workable.
Love it.
And it didn't take
Very cool.
long.
Love that.
The
Yeah. And
longest was typing in all of what's going on in the non-negotiables, which is why I like the toggle tracker idea, just data dump. There you go.
right. Well, and the other thing you can do is you can speak it into like Zoom or something, get the
There you go.
transcription and drop that into ChatGPT if you don't feel like typing.
I like that. That's a solid plan. Well, and if you have GPT on your phone, you can hit the little record, the voice button, and just talk to it too. That's the upside to
Yep.
having the app on your phone.
Yeah. There's a lot of really cool like hacks like this that you can use in life. You have to find the ones that work for you because what works for me may not work for you, but the tools are amazing as they go for sure.
Yeah, well, and a lot of people, I know I mentioned GPT to my sister the other day, and
Hmm.
is not particularly computer savvy. She's not unsavvy, but
Hmm.
she's not deep in it the way we are. And she's like, "Oh, really? What's that? How does that work? I don't know. Maybe I'll check it out."
Right.
But here's the thing to know: if you're in that boat, it's so easy to work with. You don't need to be intimidated by the tech on this one. The
Yeah,
thing to keep in
100%.
mind is it will make shit up to make you happy. So if anything seems hinky, make sure you fact check it.
If it seems too good to be true, fact check it.
Exactly, fact check it.
And, I would say it's definitely interesting trying to like come up with stuff. And sometimes, fact check it, look at it, throw it into another AI. Sometimes you can pit them against each other. You could use Claude for that.
Well,
There's
and
lots of things that you can
I
do.
frequently ask it to show its work. Okay, you've given me this set of facts. Give me the URLs where you found this. And that
Hmm.
allows a quick way that you can just go check and see if that really exists or not.
Hmm. Right. Yeah. No, I get it. And I agree. And that's the thing too. Like, sometimes it will give you really interesting garbage information and sometimes it's, totally like sane and reasonable. It
Yeah.
just depends.
Well, and I have noticed, and this I think is something that they've programmed into the model, is it seems to want to be more of a yes man now than it was when it first came out. And so I think it's valuable to keep that in mind and to challenge what it gives. So
Yeah.
it's not just creating like this echo chamber of, oh, it's a great idea. That's a wonderful question and insight. It's been saying a lot of that stuff back to me lately instead of just giving me the answer. It's like,
That's GPT-5.
yeah, it's GPT-5. I'm like, I'm
People
not
pleasing.
looking.
No.
I'm not looking for you to compliment me. I'm looking to have a back and forth challenging conversation here.
Right. Absolutely.
So
Yep.
yeah.
So if somebody were looking to get in touch with you, how would they find you?
Oh, all kinds of wonderful ways to find me. Depends on what you want to get in touch with me for, but the easiest way to have a conversation with me, and everybody gets a free conversation, is to go to zofiachat.com, and you can get on my calendar to discuss whatever it is you would like to discuss with me. If you're just more interested in what's going on in Zofia's world, what's this STEM in Stilettos podcast thing she has going on, you can find that at steminstilettos.live. And we release episodes weekly. There's a nice little back catalog there that you can look through through. And we talked to the issues about tech startup and getting the money and building the team and creating the atmosphere that moves projects forward instead of leaves you stalled on the starting line with a bunch of like infighting. So there's a lot of great information that goes on there. We've had some really amazing guests on there. So definitely want to go check that out. That's steminstilettos.live or zofiachat.com.
Love it.
And Zofia,
Y'all check out
Zofia. Zofia.
Zofia. Yes.
Yes, because there are several ways you could spell that.
Yes. And I've had fun just the voice to text trying to reach out to you. So thank you so much for being with me here today.
Yes,
thank you for being
thank
a
you
guest.
for having me. It's been fun.
And talking about life and business and all the things, because I feel like a lot of times we talk so hardcore about the business piece that we're not talking about you actually have to survive being in business to be in business.
Well, yeah, exactly. And I actually got an email from, what's his name? Oh, he's got the business podcast. It's kind of spiritual and business at the same time. His name will come to me later. Anyway, he sent a thing out lately that said, well, strategy does you no good if you can't get the work accomplished. And that's what the stuff that lies between your ears. And so if you've got a strategy and implementation is being problematic for you, I am your girl to help you clear that shit.
And you are pretty good. Love
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you so much for being here today. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for watching. And yeah, get out from between your ears and let's do this thing.
Sounds good.
Awesome. Thank you guys. See you later.